Hi, my name's Nicola. This is my brand new vlog and welcome to my sewing room. I am so inspired by people like Ali of Little Drops of Wonderful and Kate at the Last Homely House. I love watching their vlogs and podcasts, and I figured it was time to try it out for myself. There's a lot to learn. It's crazy how much there is to learn. But I'm trying to treat it all as a fun thing, as an escape from the current stress at work, and to not consider it work but play. Cheers. I have my cup of my favourite Yorkshire tea and I'm all set to go. So what do I do here? Well, I've been blogging for about 15 years at least, and I've always kept it up to date with the stuff I've been making. I sew, I knit, I crochet. I play around with a lot of other things, like sometimes I'll cross stitch or do some sashiko, stitching, all sorts of things. So I've always blogged about it and never had a very great big following on the blog, but I really did it for myself mostly. It was just like an online journal, and it's great looking back on a whole bunch of things I've made. I quite frequently refer back to it to see what I made when and how I did it, because sometimes I'll want to do it a second time. Having said that, I don't usually make the same thing twice because I want to move on and try something else. So I'm going to show you a couple of the things I've made recently, because this is episode 1, so you won't have seen anything of the sorts of things I've made yet. So my sewing just lately has been garments. Now, I used to make a whole ton of accessories and things until I had cowls, scarves and hats just bursting out of my closets. Now I'm trying to focus more on things I can wear, like sweaters and t-shirts. And I had this super cheap $3 discontinued sewing pattern in my little stash of patterns. It really is a little stash, I'm not being modest. And I thought, seeing as I had this remnant from work, I work in a fabric shop, by the way, so I have a lot of fabric available to me, and it sometimes comes home with me because, you know, that's what happens. You see a little piece that's cute or cheap or just right for something you want to make, and boom, you bought it. So this remnant, this fabric is super cute. And I made a tank top out of it. I think I only had 70 centimeters of it. And I brought it home. And usually I bring these things home with absolutely no idea of what I'm going to make. So I found I had this pattern, as I say, in my pattern box. So I made the tank top or vest, whatever you want to call it. And it worked perfectly. It fits really well. And I loved it. So then I went rooting around in my stash for something else I could use. Well, I'm wearing the second one I made. It's this rather lovely yellow stripe and flowery fabric, which was completely unlike anything I normally wear. But I thought, well, I'm just practicing and it doesn't matter if it doesn't come out brilliantly. But it came out really nicely. And since I made this sweater, which I'll talk about in a minute, which has some yellow in it, it goes really well with that. So after these two successes, I pulled out another remnant. Did I tell you I had a lot of remnants? And I made this t-shirt in a rather nice tie-dye jersey. It's a little warm for a t-shirt because it's a brushed knit, but I really like it. I made it a little bit longer than the tank tops, and it fits nicely, except that the neckline's a bit wide. So I'm not going to wear it to work because it kind of slips and, you know, the bra straps get seen and all that sort of thing. So it'll definitely be a non-work t-shirt. So what I did then is I bought a meter of fabric. I just love that you can get a garment out of 1 meter of fabric, especially if it's on sale or a remnant. I bought this one. This is so fun. And for this version of the t-shirt, I redrafted the neckline to make it a little bit narrower, and it works great. So I've worn this one to work quite a few times now. It's comfortable even in the summer because there's air conditioning at work and that keeps you cooler, and it's loose and it goes great with jeans. I usually only wear jeans to work. It's either blue jeans or black jeans. That's my two options, because otherwise I would just wreck anything else. I'm kneeling on concrete floors sometimes, putting fabrics away, or up ladders, getting things down from shelves. So it doesn't really make sense to dress up. So that is awesome. I really am happy with how those things worked out. And so I have plans for more. I bought some turquoise fabric to make another t-shirt and maybe another tank. I think I got 1.5 meters of that. And I have lots of other sewing plans, but we won't talk about them all in one go because there'd be too much. So I have this nice little stash of fabric over the other side of my sewing room there. And I have plans for baby clothes and a t-shirt and a top and some swim shorts. And I'm hoping those work out, because the fabric for the swim shorts and the swim top, which are proper swim fabric, that wasn't cheap. And I'm hoping I don't mess those up. So you'll see the name of my vlog is Stitches and Slapdashery, which is very appropriate because, you know, stitches involves knitting, crocheting, sewing, and all sorts of other things. And slapdashery is definitely my middle name, because I learned long ago that it was too much stress to try and be perfect at everything, and done is better than perfect. So I tend to be a little slapdash, a little rushed sometimes, especially with sewing, because, you know, you kind of expect something that's going to be knitted or crocheted to take a long time. It can take weeks to finish a sweater. But with the sewing, I always feel like it should take only a day, and it gets really frustrating when it takes longer than a day. I have to learn better than that. Anyhow, I'm getting there. So the other thing I'm currently making here is this rather beautiful granny square blanket. I've had this yarn for a while. It's so pretty. The colours in it are absolutely gorgeous. And it's Yerbo Cookie. And I bought it from Hobby. A friend of mine was ordering some yarn from Hobby, and she asked me if I wanted to get any so we could get the free shipping. And I was like, oh, well, that's a hard decision. So I got this guy, and I also got one that's stashed back there as well. We'll look at that another time. But oh, it's so gorgeous. The colorway is this, I think it's called Candy. The number is 46218. And it's sort of a worsted weight gauge on the ball band. It's a little bit thick and thin. Almost feels like a DK in places, but it's a worsted weight. And it's just 100% acrylic. Very, very soft brushed acrylic. Feels lovely. But the colours, oh, I just started this last night because I wanted a new crochet project to show you. So this is what the colours are looking like. There's everything in there. I think I just showed you the wrong side of that. So there's yellows and blues and neutrals. And I wanted something really basic because, as I said, I think I have a stressful time at work. My manager handed her notice in. I don't think she's going to be replaced for a while. And the two assistant managers are going to be running the show for a while, and I'm one of them. So I'm feeling a little stressed out, and I didn't want something that was going to be too complicated. And really, simple makes the yarn shine. You don't need to do a lot of fancy stitches when the yarn is that pretty. So I'm just doing a granny square baby blanket. So I'm making a baby blanket and I'm working it center out, because then I can just keep on going till the yarn runs out. 600 meters should make a pretty decent sized baby blanket, I'm thinking. And this is going to be an absolute joy to make because it's so pretty. So the top I'm wearing is also crocheted. You can't see, but but there's a darker blue band at the bottom there. And this is a crochet along I just did recently with Dora Does. She has a lot of crochet patterns. You can look them up on Ravelry if you want to. And this one is called the Any Yarn Will Do sweater. It's a top-down yoke sweater. And I hadn't made a top-down yoke sweater in crochet before. I've made them in knitting before. And I used Berroco Modern Cotton, and the bonus was I got this yarn for nothing. A co-worker of mine was destashing because she was moving house, she's clearing out all sorts of things, and she gave me the most giant bag of yarn that included tons of this. Mostly in blues, but some yellow, some white, and some green. And so I decided to use some of it in this sweater. I still have lots left. And it feels really nice. It was maybe a little splitty to work with at times, but I got used to it. The stitch is an extended single crochet, which is something I hadn't done a lot of before. And I just opted for short sleeves on this because it's cotton. It feels like a summer sweater, and it didn't feel like it needed to be a long sleeve sweater. Plus, by the time I got to this point, I kind of had enough with it. So it came out pretty well, maybe a little big. I probably, if I was to do it again, which I might, I'd probably make a smaller size. As it was, I had to rip back from the underarm up at one point because it was just enormous. So this is actually a smaller version, which could even yet be smaller. However, it's wearable. I'm very happy with it. It feels a little chilly today. It's funny to say that in June. Where I live in Canada, interior of BC, summers are baking hot. But this month it hasn't been too unbearable. We've had a bit of smoky air a couple of days ago, which gave us all headaches. But that's cool. That's nothing new. We get so many forest fires now every year. But it's cloudy today, and even though the thermometer upstairs says it's 21 inside and out, it feels cooler. So I was very happy to be able to wear my new sweater today. I'm loving it. So just a word about the hooks I use. I like Knit Pro Waves. I went through a phase of using the Addy Swings, which are those really crazy shaped handle ones, which I really liked. But the ones, my favourite ones right now are these. The Knit Pro Waves have an ergonomic handle. This is the biggest size that I have. And they're really easy to use, really comfortable. And I keep them all in my handy dandy crochet hook roll, which is made from quilt cottons, really cute ones with cats and mice on. Now, it didn't come as a set. I think I bought these from Wool Warehouse in the UK. And I bought 17 different sizes. Pretty sure there's 17 of them. I'm not going to count them right now. But I got all the sizes they had. So from most itty bitty one up until the biggest one, I've got all the sizes. And I love them. So I use that for everything now. So there's my crochet hook roll. It feels so good to use things you made yourself, doesn't it? I just love it. And then for knitting needles, my favourite needles are the Knit Picks Caspians. I used to use the rainbow wood ones all the time. When I bought them, I think they were called Harmony. They don't call them that anymore. They used to call them rainbow wood or something. So they were lovely. Quite dark. She had a dark yarn on the dark needles. Sometimes it wasn't easy to see it that great. But then, of course, my favourite colour is blue-green. Like, I love turquoise and teal. Anything that's turquoise and teal, I want it. I saw these ones here. I'll show you some close up. So these ones are the Caspians, and I just love them so much. I have not made a new case for these. These are just the original case they came in. It's already falling apart. I expect I'll have to sew a new roll for them. So they come with green cables and 9 sizes from a US 4 up to a US 11, which is a 3.5mm to an 8mm. And that covers pretty much all my needs when it comes to knitting. I always used to really love the idea of crocheting bulky yarn, big needles, because it would be done quickly. And then I realized it's actually not easier to use big needles. They're just not as comfortable or as ergonomically useful. So now I tend to stick with the middle ranges. I'm not a fingering weight person either. I went through a phase of making socks years ago, and I was using that Elana Spree, which is like that cascade fixation yarn with the elastic in it. And so that was kind of a DK weight. And so I could bang out a pair of socks fairly quickly, and I wore them to death. And then I just stopped making socks after that. And I've tried a couple of times since to use the fingering weight yarn to start a pair of socks, but it's just so skinny. And I'm just not happy with skinny needles. But not to say I won't try again. But usually it's the middle range. So what? Oh yes, this is what I'm knitting right now. So my current pattern that I'm knitting is called Sporto, and it's on knitty.com, but I found it through Ravelry, which is where I find all my patterns because I love Ravelry. I've been on there almost since the very beginning. When was that? 2007, 2008? I've been there forever anyway. I love it. I always keep my project pages up to date. I've got hundreds of projects listed on there. It's Nicolaknits if you want to take a look. And my blog is nicolaknits.com. Also, if you want to take a look. And I've always kept both of those things up to date and current. This is my second Sporto sweater. It's a top-down hooded sweater. You start knitting the hood first, and then you go down through the raglan yoke to the body, sleeves, and then if you want, there's a kangaroo pocket, like a typical sort of hoodie pocket you can put on the front. So when I made the grey version, which I meant to have with me today and I didn't bring it downstairs, when I did the grey version I left the pocket off, and I love it. It was a really cheap yarn. I got it on clearance. I think the sweater only cost me about $12 to make. And I thought I have to make another one. So I ordered this yarn from Wool Warehouse. I love Wool Warehouse. Even though I'm in Canada, the shipping's really cheap and I really like what they sell. So this is Scheepjes Truly Scrumptious. There are two weights in the Truly Scrumptious. There's a DK, I think, and an Aran, and this is the Aran. I'd say it's more like a bulky sometimes. It's really plump and squishy. It's great. And this is, I think, the Spirulina Bites, and then I've got the two contrast there, which is the acai berry, and I can't remember what the name of that one is. Hang on a minute. Honeycomb Crunch. So the yellow is Honeycomb Crunch, the pinky one is Acai Bowl, and the green is Spirulina Bites. Yes. I love this sweater, but it's been taking me a long time. I did start it in February and it could have been done a long time ago, except I got stuck into this crochet along, so that distracted me. And I've had all the sewing projects I wanted to do, that also distracted me. But what I've also been agonizing about is how to do the color work. When I bought this, I didn't know what I was going to use it for, so I think I bought 8 of the green and 2 each of the pink and yellow. And I thought, I'll figure it out. I'll make a sweater, I'll put some color work in it, and then I'll do something. Well, I've been thinking the whole time I was knitting the hood and then going down through the yoke, I'm thinking, what am I going to do with the pink and the yellow? And then I decided, oh, maybe I'll do the midsection with these alternating yellow and pink stripes and do the same on the sleeve. And you know what? I'm hating it. So the plan at the moment is to take out the circus tent looking part. So I'll take it back to the green. I think I'll finish the body in the green. Then I'll work down a bit on the sleeves and maybe put some striping on the sleeves. And then I will do the pocket this time and then put the alternative colours in the pocket. I think I'll be happy with that. I hope I'll be happy with that. Oh, I really should have had a plan, shouldn't I? I thought about doing stranded colour work across the body, and I thought, well, what if my tension's different and it pulls in? Because, you know, it'll be slapdash like a lot of the other things I do. And then it might not be nice and smooth like the rest of the sweater. And I didn't tell you that this is, the fibre content of this is 50% recycled polyester from plastic bottles and 50% acrylic. It feels really nice and soft, and it's going to be super warm to wear. And really, it doesn't have to be done till the fall, does it? Because I'm not going to wear it in the summer where I live, that's for sure. So that's that. So what else can I tell you? So as I look around my sewing room, I can see that there's going to be a lot of material, no pun intended, for future vlog episodes. I have lots of fleece remnants and chenille remnants to my left. I have woven remnants in the drawers to my right. I have all my quilt cartons in these colour-coded bins behind me. And you can see some of my yarn collection up here. It's not a huge stash by a lot of people's standards, but that could keep me busy for a long time, even if I didn't buy any more or bring any more home from work. And so what I'm hoping to do then is share with you the things I make. I just realised my tea's getting cold. So I want to share with you the things that I make. My failures and successes, because there will be both, and just my makeaholic way of seeing life. Someone once called me a makeaholic, and I made it the subtitle on my blog. It was like Adventures of a Makeaholic, because I thought that fitted me so well. So I hope you enjoyed this first little peek into my sewing room, and I hope you come back. Not sure what I will have to show you next time. Maybe a bit more sweater, maybe a bit more blanket, and maybe some new sewing. And if you do like what you see and want to get notifications about this, please do like and subscribe, because I'm brand new and that would mean so much to me. And I promise not to bug you and ask you that every single time, because it can get a bit annoying, can't it? Cheers. So this is later me. I was just looking at the video I just made, and I realized I said that I don't like to make the same thing twice, and I made 2 tank tops and 2 t-shirts out of the same pattern. And then I'm making a second hooded sweater out of the same pattern. And I'm making a granny square blanket. How many of those have I already made? So I kind of lied a little bit, didn't I?